Hey everyone, and welcome to Moto-Scotty. In this video I'm going to show you how to install on a 3rd gen Camaro Firebird the driver and passenger side hush panel courtesy lights. Now what is it exactly I'm talking about? The hush panels are the panels that are here under the dashboard, and if you have a light installed and you open the door, just like the dome light comes up, you have a little light bulb here underneath that comes up on the driver's side as well as on the passenger side. Obviously that's not happening in my car. I've already taken the hush panels off for installation. This here is the driver's side. Like my car is a 90 model year, so from 90 to 92 you have this a bit more padded upper section, but I believe that the lower section is pretty much the same. This is where the fuse box would be, the access to the fuse box. I don't have the lid anymore, but I plan on either finding an original one, the lid here, or making one myself. And this hole here, this is where the light would go in. And on the passenger side, that's the panel. And on this side here, that's already prepared. That's how it came. This is where the pigtail here from with the 194 light bulb goes in. So lucky me, I actually have this spare from the standard Firebird taillights that I removed and I replaced on this car with my Trans Am 82 to 84 Trans Am taillights. So these you can see also with the attachment here, with the 4 notches directly go in here, and then you turn. And that's how it looks on the outer side. Obviously, there's another piece missing here, is the white cover here. There's like a dome-shaped piece here, usually that will go over, and I mean, it does extrude a little bit, but that's normal. Would cover this, so I'm gonna have to build something custom-made. I don't think I'm gonna go through the expense of finding an original one. Maybe you can find it. I've heard from Hawks Motorsports. And here, funnily enough, there is no attachment, so I'm gonna have to build an attachment here as well in order to make this fit. But more on this later. Now the more pressing question is, how do we actually wire it up? So I'm not sure how it was intended to be, but I don't have it obviously on my car, and I've checked in the forums, and it might be that as soon as they added the little reading lamps here in the rearview mirror, they stopped installing the hush panel lights, courtesy lights, in the factory. So obviously you can see you can still add them to the panel, but I've checked underneath, and let me just get some light in here. This is about where it would go. There's the OBD1 plug, there's the fuse box, and I have not been able to find any wiring harness that was loose here that was just ready to plug into the hush panel to accommodate the pigtail and the light bulb. So what I'm going to do now is actually take off this kick panel here on either side, passenger side as well. Don't mind that box, it's the scanner control box for my Night Rider KITT scanner. And then try and tap into the wires here from the door, because this is basically a switch that activates the dome light as soon as the door opens. So obviously now it's closed, and as soon as the switch here is depressed, the light goes on. So I'm actually going to try and tap into that wire and see if the light comes on. So now I'm going to remove the kick panels and take my multimeter and check if there's 12 volts coming from one of the wires and see how it's connected. If I need to get one wire and ground the other wire to the chassis, and test it if I get light on the bulb, on the pigtail, and then I can set everything up with the cables and tap into that heat shrink kit and install it on the panel. There's one screwed on here. Take a Phillips screwdriver. How long is this screw? Another one here. Gently lift it up. That's it. Bring you closer in. Obviously, this is the door switch. You can maybe see if I press it. The lights go on and off. So let me take the multimeter and tap into here and see if I can get some electricity. I tested this out. There's actually no power going to this switch. This is actually just the ground, I found out, because obviously when it's pressed, these two cables are not connected to each other again, and once it's released, once the door is open, they are, and the light can come on, which doesn't make perfectly sense. I'm going to use this one as ground. I'm going to tap into either of this one with the ground cable of the courtesy light, and then I just need a constant 12 volt, which I'm probably going to take from the fog light. This blue one. Let me see if this blue one here. What you can also do is take a constant 12 volt from the tail lights. Just for you to understand, I have here my Haynes repair manual for Pontiac Firebird, and if I look here at chapter 10, the electrical system for Firebirds 1990 model year through 92, I have here the fog light, and the fuse and fog lights are hot at all times. So that's the blue wire I just showed you. I can tap either here, or another hot at all times would be the tail lights. It's fuse 10, 20 amps as well. So it doesn't really matter which one you tap into. But I think because I can easily access the fuse ones, I'm gonna take these clips out. I know many don't like these because looks like a hack job, but I think it's going to be a cleaner installation than cutting the wire and soldering in another cable and putting some heat shrink in. This can just go through, and then I can press it, and this should be a clean installation. Alright, I've started up to get the wires ready. This is for the left side. Well, it doesn't matter which side, but this is for the left side. Actually, it's just extended a cable here for the ground, which I'm going to clip into this black one to the door switch, and then here this red one. I would have preferred to have a brown one, but I had the spare, and I'm not going to just buy another cable just for that. I'm going to label it with this label here for the courtesy light. I'm going to put this on here once I have it installed. And what I also had to think of is how to get the light over to the passenger side, because obviously I want to have the power to come from a power source that's at all times on. So I'm just going to extend this with another red one onto here. I'm going to solder this in and bring this red cable over to the passenger side behind the center console. So let's wire everything together, and I'll show it to you once I install it in the car. This might look like a bit of a mess now, but let's put this in the car and see how it looks like, how it all comes together. To bring the red cable over from the driver's side to the passenger side, I'm using a guide cable. Basically, it's just a cable that's much stiffer that I just straightened and I push through here the center console to bring it over here. I mean, it's a little bit fiddly here. You have my surveillance mode, and then I'm just gonna attach the red cable that needs to go to the passenger side and here. Gently pull it over and bring it over here so I can connect everything on the passenger side. There we go. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is how we do it. Time to wire up this red one. Power to the constant 12 volt of the light blue you see there. This is gonna get, I'm gonna tap in there with one of these. Now guys, we look at that. I've clipped it all together. Obviously here it's connected. The red one is clipped into the blue one, the fog light wire, which is always on. And then here I clipped the black one here, ground over to this door switch. So I simulate closing the door with my finger here. Lights off. If I open the door, lights on. Just like the dome light and the courtesy lights here in the mirror. So that's a full success. Now on to wiring everything up here on the passenger side, and then I can take care of the panels themselves. There's still a halogen light bulb in here. Once I'm finished up wiring, this is just for testing. I'm going to put the LEDs in there. Before I go any further, I want to give a big shout out to 82Night2000 on Instagram. He has an Instagram account about his 82 black and gold Trans Am. Really nice car, and he keeps upgrading it or just making it nicer. And he, for a few weeks ago or a few months ago, I don't remember, he changed the light bulbs from halogen to LEDs on his hush panels, courtesy lights, like I'm doing now, and that actually inspired me to do these upgrades. So go ahead and check out his page. Before I wire in the second pigtail plug here, I actually need to take some measurement because I need to build the proper attachments here. You see, I have this plant pot here, this mini plant pot, but it actually really reminded me when I saw this, because if you take the passenger side that's ready to go, it already has, I can just plug and play. So I want to reciprocate that for the driver's side. And I just have this little plant pot here lying around, and this might just work to trim it down to the same height. Already did some measurements here. So I can, well, the plan is to trim this down, make a hole here, make sure I can plug this in properly because this surface isn't straight. Glue this onto here, and then we'll have this side fixed, but we'll still have to take care of the outside. Now I've taken this plant pot and actually cut it here at 2 centimeters height, just to drill the hole in here. So it's pretty much the same height as this factory one on the passenger side. And now I want to glue this here on the driver's side. And when I put the plug in here, ideally speaking, I would have the same alignment here as on the passenger side, where I can actually plug in this plug. Now it's just kind of crudely put in here. But I think I'm not going to attempt to make a proper holding system. Like, I mean, now it's, you know, it's stuck in there just because of the friction, but you can just pull it out at any time. I want to be able to pull it out. If I take the panel down again to plug out the light bulb. So I think this is going to hold good enough if it's in place here, and I just have to glue this little plastic bit here onto the actual panel. And then we're going to have to take care of the outside of it. Well, the little plant pot here is being glued to factory specifications. I'm letting this dry. I can take care of the little lens cover here, like from factory. What I've seen, there is a little kind of bowl-shaped cover that clips in here, so that actually comes out quite a bit, just to go over this so that the light can actually spread within the cabin. I don't have that, and I don't intend to buy this because it would probably just cost 3 times the price of the product just to get it shipped over from America. So I've been going through the supermarket with my little caliper here, measuring the little fruit bottles with a transparent lid and whatever bottle I could find, and I came across this organic pepper here, really good. Why would I take that? Because it has this lid here that actually completely fits this space here. It is quite big, but it's barely any higher than the factory one from what I've seen. And the good thing here is that it actually has a lid, and well, my plan is to actually leave this, but I would have the possibility, if I glue this on, to open this and change the light bulb if ever it comes out. Like, as I said, I'm going to put these LEDs in here, but this would give me the possibility to change out the light bulb. You can see I've already drilled out a hole here, but I would probably need to drill this. Like, this is okay for now, but I would probably need to drill it out a little bit more if I really wanted to be able to grab a hold of this light bulb and change it out if needs be. Otherwise it would defeat the purpose of having this removable lid here. And all of this from a pepper mill. This should be enough. Drilled it out a little bit more. Now I can go and grab it if needs be, even with a set of pliers. And maybe just for your information, if you want to do the same thing for the dimension, let me see, this is diameter is 45.7 millimeters, which is 1.8 inch. And then the height, I mean, it needs about 2 centimeters to clear, but this is a little bit higher than it needed to be. It actually needs to be. This is 25 millimeter, which equates to 1.1 inches, or 1.1 inch. So I think you need at least 2 centimeters, which is 0.8 of an inch, to clear this bulb. But I'm going to glue this on here, and then I can take care of the other one on the driver's side. Alrighty, so this side is now all glued up. Here, I can now install the driver's side lens, or just glass cover, on here, and this, wouldn't you believe it, it just perfectly fits in here in this recess. Just going to put some glue in here, put this in, let this dry, and then I'm done. Yeah, now I'm just going to let it dry. Now, as you can see on the driver's side, we're ready to put everything back together. I've just tidied up the wiring here. I just put some zip ties over here. Once again, this is connected to the door switch here, the ground, and then the red one is connected to the fog lights. And with LEDs, just as a reminder, when you install LEDs bulbs, if it doesn't work immediately, even though everything should be connected properly, just turn them around, because as a difference to normal traditional light bulbs, the electricity only goes through in one direction, so you just have to turn it around. If it doesn't work, just pull it out, turn it around, and plug it back in, and then it should work. Over here, everything is ready to go back in the car here on the driver's side. As you can see, I'm missing the fuse box access panel here. I just made myself a template out of cardboard, and we'll probably just make one myself, fabricate the attachments if I can find a suitable piece of plastic that's similar to this one in black, then I will just cut it out and put it in, and don't know. We'll have to look into this, but for now I'm going to put this back in. Alright guys, here on the passenger side, again, there's the red wire. I've tidied it up a little bit here with zip ties, and I've even labeled it here with courtesy light. It's coming down here. Obviously we'll have to get cut to size now that I'm gonna solder in the plug. And same thing here on the passenger side with the ground here on the door switch. It's in behind there. I'm just gonna have to up there. It's a bit tricky to film here in up there, but I'm just gonna tap into that just as I did on the driver's side and put everything back together. All right guys, look, it actually worked. So as I said, this is now wired and soldered and heat shrunk into this pigtail, and then I took the ground again, just like the other side from the door switch. So let me see if I can actually give you a good shot. It's the white wire here from the door switch. Same thing as with the other side here, everything's crashing, and that's why in this video I haven't filmed a lot of what I was actually doing, but just showing you the steps in between, the progress, because it's really hard to set up a camera here. But you should be able to do the same if you follow these easy steps. And you can see if I close the door, which is pressing this here, light goes on, open the door, goes back on. Now let me put everything back together and see what it looks like when it's all together. Alright guys, it's all put back together as if nothing happened. Now opening up the passenger side door, boom. Isn't that the coolest thing in the world? I mean, obviously the light is coming out quite a bit, but that's also the point of the whole story, so the light can spread. I mean, the cover in here, it's really cool. And you close it and you can see that it's only lighting up on the passenger side because this side is grounded towards the passenger side door switch, and the other side, the left side, obviously is grounded to the driver's side door switch. And once we come over to the driver's side, the light goes on here on the driver's side and also on the passenger side. So why is that? Why does it only come on the passenger side when I open the passenger side, and why is it coming on both sides if I open the driver's side? So the only relation I actually have is that the ground wire that is on the switch on the passenger side must be the same, must be connected to the one on the driver's side, because it's getting ground as well. When I open the driver's side now, it's always getting 12 volt plus on the red wire, and it's also getting ground now that I'm opening this side. So this must be, I'd really like to know from anyone out there who has this from factory, do both sides light up when the driver's side is open, and does only the passenger side light up when the passenger side is open? Anywho, that's the only reason, or the only way I can explain this situation, but it's fine. I personally think this looks amazing. I don't know, I mean, I couldn't have cared less before, but now that I have it, I really don't want to live without it. It just makes, it's another option ticked off the list, another improvement, small improvement on the car. It just makes the whole thing more fancy, dare I say. Not that you really need it, but it's just cool. Anyhow, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was useful, and see you in the next video. Yeah, one more thing before you go. Remember last year when I said that I wasn't going to do any more videos on my KITT Firebird? Well,
I lied.